ongoing. It would be fair to say. So we've got the main training session today, so we'll see what players we can declare fit. And if we have any other responsibility beyond that, then we'll make a phone call to the AFL. While there's 3 or 4 players that from last weekend's game that are not available, and Fawkes and Ibbotson and Fife and Lower, so there's 4. Beyond that, it looks okay, but once again, we've just got to get through this training session. But once again, we've just got to get through this training session.
So what do you mean you might have to make a phone call to that?
Well, whether we need to consider anyone else on our list and how that would work.
Meaning
rookie, yeah. So that's. I'd say we've got 24. So, but then you run into possibly, or I hope we have 25. But then you have the emergency issue and naming that player. My understanding is that if it gets this drastic, then sometimes there might be a compromise with that decision. Yeah. We've still got the other issue, which is another one, which is Bookerbats, who's we're going to appeal that decision, which is a week at the moment. Yeah, when you do your reviews, and that would be for 2 weeks after the season finishes, and then you go into planning a pre-season and how you deal with all the issues that have happened in the last 12 months. And it'll be even other things like how is the pre-season for 3 or 4 guys that just had shoulder reconstructions, and where does that sit, and how much they can do during that period of time. So it's going to have to be very detailed, all of it. Very hard in a compromised draft when it's so dominated by GWS and for that matter even previous draft picks that clubs have got from last year. So that can be very hard, and I think every club's in the same dilemma with the one we've just been through and the one we're about to go through. So it's hard to make a lot of, particularly if there's not a lot of depth in the draft. Distinct possibility that's maybe more strategic. Yeah. Well, firstly, it depends which one you get, and depends on the quality of player that you're looking at. But naturally, then we've got the dealings of, if you lose a player to GWS and what the compensation is for that too. So there's a lot of different things that are going on at the moment. I guess we'll have a lot clearer view when 8 clubs are out of the competition on the weekend, and everyone will start declaring their hand. Oh, that would happen pretty much next week, yeah. It's probably a question you should ask Reece, because once again, the way the system works is we're purely speculating, and you guys would hear as many stories about it as we would, and so I guess when we finish on the weekend, probably Reece would come up and have a chat if that was the case. There are a couple of key areas that we're looking at, yeah. So small forwards, as in how we haven't been able to contain them that well from the opposition point of view. And keep adding to your midfield and a key forward. No, I think I've answered that question last night. So. The first thing is for whatever the conversation is that Mitch Clark and his management have with Brisbane, and then they declare what he wants to do or where he wants to go, and then we facilitate, or we have a look at how we could do that if that was possible. So, that's all part of negotiation, and that's what Trade Week's all about. And so until that moment arrives, then we move forward once that decision's made. Peter's obviously part-time in the media at the moment, and he's got a lot of controlling interest in business. I think he's been out of football for a couple of years now and probably misses it a bit. So he may decide to take coaching on in either a full-time or a part-time capacity. We'd be naive not to talk to him about that. When did he say that?
On the radio on 60 hours, yeah.
Well, I guess once again, whenever the season finishes, then if we always look at your coaching area and what you're going to do and what you need. So in time, that'll take care of itself. Whatever that opinion or is. It depends on conversations and where Peter wants to go. Obviously, experience and the way he played in the midfield and the way he played around a lack of height. And, but it had a wonderful ability to be able to firstly get possession and then maintain possession. So, yeah, it's intelligent. I guess you're at the forefront of a lot of things up until 6 weeks ago. I think we dealt with it pretty well actually up until that stage, and then for various reasons it's taken its toll. I think I've been stated as saying that hopefully it's the making of the team. And what we have found though is that in between perhaps our 25th player and our 45th player is that we need to get more out of them during those times when you do have substantial injuries to your better players. There can be no excuse for players not being able to rise to that occasion when you get the opportunity. My thoughts are when you're just out of the game, you've got to be careful what you say. That's what I would say.
So obviously you disagree with that. You think there's more depth?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we've, where it's I would have been interested to ask Paul where he saw Zach Clark, whether he saw him in the 26 before he made that opinion as an example. So, I mean, it's all opinion based, and Paul's entitled to his outlook on the club. But I think when you're a one-team player, you've got to be very careful what you say. I think we've been asked to go beyond that this year, and I think in the first 15 weeks, I think we've shown that. It depends on who you lose during that time and whether your players in between what I just spoke about have evolved. You can't, the judgment on that so far out, and this is why you want to keep putting expectation on yourself, and you go through something like this at the start of the year, and you get yourself into trouble quite quickly. So preempting a clean slate and making sure that our younger players go to the next level and can hold down their perhaps their elite status at some stage, then possibly. But as I said to you, the main focus for us will be making sure that our players from 20 to 45 get a hell of a lot better than what they are now. No, you'll see next week that the club, after our reviews, will put out a few things and comments about either players or coaches or things like that. So
no confirmation right now?
Not at the moment, no. Yeah, possibly, yeah. We lost some experience in the last couple of years, so a lot of the coaches that we've had come into the coaching staff have been involved in the system, but not necessarily at the experienced line coaching level, so possible. I would have thought more experience in the line coaching area, but that doesn't discount a coach that's done it at that level anyhow. No. I've had to make a couple of calls to coaches over the last couple of weeks and it hasn't been pleasant, so I've spoken to all of them actually. And but no, there's no discussion about anything other than how the coaches are going and whether they were being looked after. No, I haven't spoken to Nathan. We haven't spoken. No. Not well. When I say compromise, I mean there might be an allowance for us to put up a rookie. So that's all I know at this stage without going into detail about it. So that's where we're at. No, I'm not aware of any situation previously. So once again, we'll just seek some clarification if we have to do it from the AFL.